A few weeks ago, while budgets were being tabled across the country, I spoke to two friends, both mid-level bureaucrats working in two very different states. The first one, posted in Lucknow, sounded almost relieved. He said, yeah, this year's numbers look stable, revenue is holding up, capex approvals are moving fast, and for once the finance department isn't panicking. The second call was from someone in Thiruvananthapuram. His tone was the opposite. He sounded tired. He said, we're cutting corners everywhere, pension load is insane, welfare bills are piling up, capex is the first thing that's sacrificed. Every year we start with hope and every year it shrinks. Those two calls stuck with me because they are not just two personal anecdotes. They neatly summarize something we all sense but rarely articulate. In India today, BJP-ruled states consistently look fiscal stronger and many opposition-ruled states are struggling to stay afloat. Why? Is this the BJP actually managing money better, or are we reading a pattern without understanding the mechanics behind it? This episode tries to decode that. Not with rhetoric, but with actual numbers and the political choices behind them. Take Uttar Pradesh, a state that for decades was held up as the example of what not to do in governance. But its 2024-25 budget shows something remarkable. A revenue surplus of over 74,000 crores and the highest capital expenditure allocation in the country, touching 1.54 lakh crore. It's not alone. Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Assam, all governed by the BJP, are putting out strong-looking fiscal sheets without buoyant tax collections and ambitious infrastructure spending. Then look at Kerala, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka. Their budgets tell a tougher story. Rising revenue deficits, shrinking fiscal room, and capex level that are a fraction of the BJP-ruled state. It's not that they don't want to spend on infrastructure. Often they simply can't. So the question becomes, why does the same constitution, the same GST regime, and the same financial framework produce such different outcomes? The answer starts emerging when you move from numbers to behavior, from spreadsheets to political choices. If you cut open a state budget like an X-ray, you will notice a pattern in spending priorities. In most BJP-run states, a lot of the money is being pushed into long-term assets. Expressways, irrigation, logistic parks, power transmission, industrial clusters. You can see this clearly in UP, Gujarat, MP and Maharashtra. The capex lines are not symbolic, they are structural. But in states like Kerala, Punjab or Himachal Pradesh, the spending story looks very different. A large chunk of their budget is already pre-committed. Salaries, pensions, interest payments and universal subsidies. So by the time these essential bills are paid, barely anything is left for big-ticket development. This is not about incompetence, it's about fiscal breathing room. If half your income goes into non-negotiable recurring expenditure, capex naturally gets suffocated. And here lies the first major difference. BJP states have more room to build because they have fewer permanent liabilities eating into their budgets. The second difference is subtle but powerful. It's the design of welfare, not the presence of welfare. Almost every state in India today runs welfare schemes, but BJP states tend to design theirs in a very targeted way. UP, MP, Gujarat, Assam, these schemes often rely on Aadhaar-linked DBT, well-defined eligibility and the digital verification. Benefits go to those who meet specific economic criteria. The number of beneficiaries stays controlled. Leakage is lower, and more importantly, the cost doesn't blow up every year. Opposition states often approach welfare differently. Kerala runs universal social sector models. Karnataka expanded broad-based guarantees. Punjab subsidizes electricity at a scale that now dominates its fiscal landscape. Himachal's pension obligations keep accelerating. These schemes are morally compelling, politically rewarding, and personally transformative for many citizens. But they come with a problem. The cost is recurring, it compounds, it becomes permanent. And once a government commits to a universal entitlement, rolling it back becomes politically suicidal. Thus, BJP states don't necessarily spend less on welfare, they just structure it in a way that preserves fiscal room for capex. Opposition states often choose a more expansive model which narrows that room dramatically. Revenue isn't just about tax rate, it's about how well a state collects. Gujarat and Maharashtra, for example, have some of the strongest own tax revenues in India. UP has seen a steady rise in GST and excise collections thanks to digital monitoring and compliance drives. These gains aren't accidental, they come from administrative focus. But Kerala's tax growth has been modest for years. Punjab's industrial stagnation limits its revenue base. Himachal's geography limits diversification. Karnataka earns well but spends even faster. A state that earns more can spend more wisely. A state that earns less must spend more carefully. This is why tax buoyancy becomes destiny. Not all states start from the same baseline. Punjab's fiscal decline didn't begin with up. It is rooted in decades of over-subsidization and a failure to diversify its economy. Himachal's crisis isn't ideological either. It's structural, a huge public workforce and a tiny private economy. Kerala's strength, education, healthcare, social welfare come with a trade-off of heavy recurring expenditure that limits investment. These problems would challenge any party in power. BJP, Congress, UP, all would face the same constraints. So at this point, a clearer pattern emerges. BJP states don't look fiscally stronger because they magically manage better. They look stronger because they choose targeted welfare, not universal welfare. They prioritize infrastructure, not recurring subsidies. They maintain lower long-term liabilities. They improve tax buoyancy through administrative tightening. They borrow to build assets, not to fund consumption. Look at opposition states, either because of ideology, politics, or structural baggage, make choices that expand recurring commitments and leave less room for capital investment. This is not about which side is morally right. It's about which model is fiscally sustainable within India's current revenue realities. So the next time you see a state boasting a surplus or another drowning in deficit, don't just look at the political color. Look at the architecture of its spending. Look at how it builds welfare. Look at where its debt goes. Look at what part of its budget is flexible and what part is pre-committed. Because the real divide in India today is not between BJP and the opposition. It's between state that borrow to build and state that borrow to distribute. Both models have merit, both create winners and losers, both define politics, but only one leaves enough room for governments to shape the future, not just manage the present. And in that tension lies the economic story of modern India.